He had everything: power, wealth, and influence. A billionaire father who believed money could fix any wound. But there was one thing even he couldn't buy back: his daughter's smile. After a tragic accident left her paralyzed, her laughter vanished, her spirit dimmed, and every day became a reminder of his helplessness. Then one afternoon, he walked in on something that shattered his pride and exposed the prejudice he didn't want to admit. What he saw would change everything. Marcus Hale was no ordinary man. He was a billionaire, his name etched onto skyscrapers, his fortune sprawling across continents. From the outside, it looked like he had conquered life itself. But inside his mansion, behind the polished gates and endless wealth, lived a silence that money couldn't fill. 9-year-old Elena, his only daughter, had once been the light of his world. Her laughter could brighten any room, her energy unstoppable. But everything changed after the accident. One careless moment on the road, and suddenly she was confined to a wheelchair. Doctors came and went. Specialists flew in from around the globe. Marcus spared no expense or effort in chasing a cure. Yet nothing could bring back what truly mattered: her joy. Her once bright eyes grew distant. Her voice, once full of life, fell quiet. To Marcus, every smile she faked was a painful reminder that he had failed her in the one way that mattered most. And so, he buried himself in work, believing control and discipline could restore what was lost. He kept Elena's world carefully guarded, hiring staff to maintain order, every detail of her life monitored. To him, order meant safety. But in his pursuit of control, he overlooked the one thing his daughter needed most: connection. That fragile world of silence and hidden pain was about to be disrupted by someone Marcus least expected. And when it happened, it would not only test his pride, but also expose the prejudice he didn't even realize he carried. It happened on an ordinary afternoon. The mansion was quiet, sunlight spilling across polished marble floors, when Marcus Hale walked through the hallway toward his daughter's room. He wasn't expecting anything unusual, just another day of silence, another reminder of how far Elena had drifted from joy. But as he reached the doorway, he froze. Music. Soft, rhythmic, unfamiliar. A gentle Brazilian tune carried through the air, filling a space that had long been drowned in stillness. And then laughter. Elena's laughter. Real, unrestrained, echoing like a sound he hadn't heard in months. Marcus stepped inside, and what he saw ignited something deep inside him. His new driver, Daniel Costa, was in the room. A black man, dressed in plain work clothes, moving with a lightness that seemed almost out of place in the grand, sterile home. He was dancing, his body swaying gently to the rhythm, and Elena, wheelchair and all, was trying to follow his movements, clapping her hands, smiling so wide it looked like the sun had returned. For a moment, Marcus stood stunned. His daughter was alive again, her spirit flickering back to life. But instead of relief, pride surged in, and quickly twisted into anger. To Marcus, this wasn't just kindness. It was overstepping. A man he had hired to drive his cars was now in his daughter's private world, breaking the order Marcus worked so hard to control. He cut the music short. The room fell silent. Elena's smile faded in an instant, replaced with confusion, then tears. Marcus didn't see the joy she had just rediscovered. He only saw a boundary crossed. With cold certainty, he fired Daniel on the spot. Elena pleaded, her voice shaking, her small hands gripping the armrests of her wheelchair. She begged her father to stop. She cried that Daniel made her feel normal again. That with him, she wasn't just the girl in the chair. But Marcus's pride was louder than her tears. He turned away, blind to her pain. Daniel left quietly, no protest, no anger in his steps. But behind his silence was a story Marcus hadn't yet uncovered. A truth that would shake everything he thought he knew. In the days that followed, Elena's condition grew worse. Her spark dimmed again, her health fragile. And for the first time, Marcus began to feel the weight of doubt pressing against his certainty. He had silenced the only person who brought her light. But at what cost? What Marcus didn't know was that the man he dismissed so easily wasn't just a driver. He carried a past bound to Marcus's own family, a secret connection written years earlier, in the final wishes of Marcus's late wife. And when that truth came to light, Marcus would realize the depth of the mistake his prejudice had led him to make. Marcus thought he had done the right thing. Order, control, protecting his daughter's world from outsiders. But the walls he built were crumbling, and the truth came crashing through most unexpectedly. Elena's health was slipping, her energy drained, her spirit broken once more. No treatments worked, no doctors brought hope. And then, in the middle of his despair, Marcus discovered something buried in a drawer, his late wife's will. Her handwriting, trembling but firm, spoke directly to him. If Elena ever faced paralysis, there was only one person she trusted to guide her: Dr. Daniel Costa. The name hit Marcus like a strike of lightning. His driver, the man he had humiliated and cast aside. But there it was in black and white, his wife's last wish. And suddenly the pieces began to fit. He learned the truth. Daniel wasn't just a driver. He was a renowned neuroscientist, a healer who had once helped Clara during her illness in Paris. And he wasn't dancing with Elena out of disrespect. He was practicing his life's work, music and movement therapy, a program he had pioneered after losing his daughter in a tragic accident. In that moment, Marcus felt the crushing weight of his mistake. He had judged Daniel by his appearance, by his status, by his skin. He had seen driver and not doctor. He had seen outsider and not savior. And worst of all, his pride had stolen precious time from his daughter's healing. The truth burned through him, leaving no place to hide. He had let prejudice blind him. He had nearly destroyed his daughter's only chance at happiness. Now only one question remained. Would Daniel forgive him, and would he return before it was too late? Marcus did what pride once told him was impossible. He went back to the man he had cast aside. He humbled himself before Daniel, begging not as a billionaire, not as an employer, but as a father desperate to save his child. And Daniel, though scarred by loss, agreed on one condition. He would not return as a driver. He would return as Elena's doctor and as Marcus's equal. From that day forward, everything changed. With Daniel's guidance, Elena slowly found strength again. First, small movements. Then, with crutches, she took her first steps. And finally, the confidence to dance. Not as a patient, not as someone broken, but as a child who believed she could fly. Together, Marcus and Daniel co-founded the Flying Wings Foundation, giving hundreds of children the same chance Elena had. But Marcus carried with him a truth that cut deeper than wealth or power. He had nearly destroyed his daughter's future because he judged an extraordinary man by his skin and his station. Prejudice had blinded him. Pride had trapped him. And if not for a second chance, his daughter's laughter might have been lost forever. Racism doesn't always appear in loud, obvious forms. Sometimes it hides in assumptions, in pride, in the quiet decisions we justify to ourselves. Marcus learned that too late, but he chose to change. And now the question remains: how many lives, how many futures, are still being destroyed by the same blindness? How many children will lose their chance at joy because someone looked at the surface and failed to see the soul? This isn't just Marcus's story. It's ours. And the only question that matters is, what will we do differently? What did you think of Marcus's journey? Do you believe prejudice blinds us more than we realize? If the story moved you, let us know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more powerful stories that matter.